Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountrysheetcottage.net. So today we're going to talk about applying vinyl to Christmas ornaments. So you might be making some Christmas ornaments this holiday season, and I thought I'd share my best tips and tricks for adding vinyl to those. Now whether you're using these disc type ornaments where they're kind of flat but rounded, or you want to go all the way out and use the ball ornaments, there are tips and tricks that you can use to get your vinyl on there as straight as possible with as few wrinkles and bubbles and that type of thing as absolutely possible. So let's get started looking at the supplies we're going to need, and I'll link to everything that I'm going to use in the description below. You may have to click read more to see it. So let's get started. So here's the ornaments we're going to make. I went ahead and cut my vinyl as well as weeded it. I have a video on that if you don't understand how to work with vinyl, and I will link that below. For that, a weeding tool is really helpful. We'll also be using this scraper to make sure our vinyl is adhered. So we're going to start with the simplest and sort of work our way more complicated, and then at the end have a few tips and tricks. So the first things first, we're going to do these flat disc ornaments, and I will link to all the supplies below. So with a flat disc ornament, you can add vinyl pretty easily. It is a curved surface, but it is more flat than a rounded ornament. We're going to do two different versions of that, and then we'll work our way into more rounded ornaments. This one's round but long, and then these are a more traditional round ornament. So let's break out our transfer tape and start working with it on all of these ornaments from the flat discs all the way up, working through some tips and tricks on how to apply vinyl to ornaments. The first thing I would recommend is to cut your transfer tape roughly to the size of the vinyl you're transferring. I am using Vinyl Ease transfer tape because I find that it works best for me. The Cricut brand also does really well, and I actually have a transfer tape comparison, and I'll link that in the description below. So we're just going to burnish this really well. And we'll peel back this backing, leaving the vinyl on the transfer tape. Now, before you apply it to your ornament, it is good to clip the edges of your transfer tape when you're doing something round. And for something like a snowflake, I would just go ahead and clip just the transfer tape, we're not cutting the vinyl, in towards the center of each of the prongs. This way, we don't have to worry about the transfer tape getting bunched up as much, because you can apply each of these individually. So there we go. So I've clipped it all the way around. And if it's not a snowflake, we'll talk about that in a minute, but just sort of clip around anyway, just not into the inside of the design. And then when you're adding to the ornament, let's start in the middle and work our way out. So obviously the middle of the snowflake is the very center. And we're going to position this on our ornament. And then I'll press down in the middle first, and then I'll work my way to the edge along each of these pieces. So this is where the transfer tape being individual helps, where we clipped it, because now I can press down each individual piece. And as we're going, and if I make a mistake, so if one of these is starting to bubble up, I'm not pressing down very hard, so I could lift it up again and I could reposition. So going from the middle, working our way out, all the way around. And now that I have it down, I don't have any wrinkles, no bubbles. Now I can use my scraper and I can press it down really well this time so that it really gets adhered to the ornament. And then we'll just start picking the transfer tape up, leaving the vinyl on our ornament. And there you have a snowflake on a round ornament. I would probably burnish it down one more time just to make sure it's down really well. And then this one's ready for your Christmas tree. Next up, we are going to do another disc ornament. This one is larger, and we're going to put a layered design on it. So first things first is the snowman outline, as well as the face and buttons are glitter vinyl. Glitter vinyl, you will need a strong grip transfer tape. Now for the arms and nose, I could just use regular. So I am going to put these on at 2 different times because I really don't want the arms and nose to be on this strong grip transfer tape because it will be super hard to get off. So we're going to start with this nose and face. Then after we have the nose and the face on the transfer tape, we'll just apply that to the snowman body and burnish down once again. Then once we have that on a piece, we can add it to our ornament. Once again, let's clip the sides. Now the good thing about using glitter vinyl, and I'm going to clip this in but not cut the vinyl once again. The good thing about using glitter vinyl is that it is slightly stretchy, so it is a little more forgiving than regular. So for larger pieces like this or more curved ornaments, if you want to consider the glitter, you may find it a little more forgiving. So you'll just continue to snip around the outside of that transfer tape, and then we can add this to our ornament. Now we're going to add it to our ornament in the same way as we did the snowflake. So we're going to start in the center, press it down, and then work our way around the edge. Again, that clipping of that transfer tape helps as you're pressing it around the edge. Now this is a larger design and it covers more area. So you have that thin line and it goes all the way around. So it will possibly bunch up. So you can kind of see it bunching up in some of the areas. So you just want to press it out as much as you can, get as many of those bumps out as you can. But like right in there, there is a bump and I may not be able to get that out. I'm going to run with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and press it down. I only have the one bump that is in my vinyl. So I'm going to press it down with my scraper and then remove the transfer tape from the vinyl. And then we'll take a look at how to fix the fold in the vinyl, or at least make it less noticeable on your final project. Sometimes you just have to leave the fold or the bump in the vinyl and just kind of work with it a little bit and make it less noticeable. So here I'm just taking a weeding tool and kind of lifting up on where it's folded over and making it look like it's a continual line. So I'm going to leave it overlapped on top of each other. You could also cut it here, so you could cut it into 2 pieces and overlap those 2 pieces, but I'm actually going to leave the overlap because that is a bit easier than trying to actually remove it and press it out. This is glitter vinyl, so you could try to remove it and kind of stretch it around, but it may make your snowman wonky or misshapen. So then we're just going to add the rest of the vinyl pieces. So I'm just going to add those by just peeling them and not even using transfer tape. Now another trick you can use, because in this case our hands go on both sides, you can actually use this second hand to cover up that imperfection in your vinyl. So just use that over the area that's folded over itself and it'll be even less noticeable in your final project. So there you have a cute snowman ornament. Just use your scraper tool to burnish your vinyl down, and this one is ready for the tree. Next, we're going to tackle an even more rounded ornament with some vinyl. We're going to do it in the same manner, but this one is a little bit more round. But I'm going to use this really large piece of vinyl. So this is large in comparison with the ornament, which means it's going to be even more of a challenge. So for this one, we're just going to peel it off of the backing paper and apply it right to the ornament without using transfer tape. That way I don't have the transfer tape to worry about. But again, I'm going to start in the center and work my way out and press it down as much as possible. And because this piece is so large, we're going to get quite a few bubbles. So just gently press it down at first and see where those bubbles are going to be located. So you can see quite a few of those bubbles there. And then you can lift the vinyl back up because we didn't press it down very hard, and try again. And you can repeat this as many times as you would like. With larger pieces like this, you may have to repeat it several times. You might have to snip the vinyl and lay it over one another similar to the way I did the snowman, you might have to use a pin like in the center. If you get a bubble in the center and you just can't get it out, you may have to use a pin to let some of that air out and get it down as smooth as possible. But with these larger pieces, it may be impossible to get them completely flat on a rounded surface. I do like to use my scraper tool sometimes and kind of work out the vinyl as I go. It kind of helps me, I feel like, press the vinyl down to the ornament and remove the bubbles at the same time. So I do use this technique occasionally. So then just continue to work your vinyl out and remove any of those bubbles that you can get out. Now, you may not be able to get them all out on a piece this big, just to be warned. So when you're choosing your design, think about ones that will work best on an ornament. So if this tree had a cutout in the center or something like that, it would probably work better than just the solid tree. So think about your design and the ornament you're going to put it on. This design would also have worked better on one of those flat disc ornaments, similar to the snowflake, rather than the rounded ornament here. So think about the design as well as the ornament when you're planning your holiday decorations. All right, next is the baby's first Christmas. Now, we're going to put this on this round ball ornament, and we have two different kinds of vinyl. So the baby's first Christmas is in glitter, and the leaves and the holly berries are actually regular vinyl. So I am going to use the strong grip transfer tape first for the baby's first Christmas, and then the regular grip for the other two colors. So we're going to apply this in the same manner as we have before, adding transfer tape to the vinyl itself, burnishing it well, removing that backing paper before adding it to our ornament. And then we can work on clipping the transfer tape as always. So clipping that transfer tape will make it work better around that rounded surface. So we want to clip to the inside all the way around and as far in as we can get. So like where that first is, I can clip all the way into the number 1, and sometimes I can even clip like down in between letters. Now for the disc ornaments, they lay kind of flat, but these round balls will not. So here's one trick I have. So this is the cap to a lid of spray paint. You can actually put that ornament inside and it will hold it still. So don't have a cap to a spray paint. You can use cups, plastic cups, large or small, depending on the size of your ornament. You could even use like a roll of tape. And that of course would be for a larger ornament. So anything that is round and deep, you can use to hold your ornament steady. Now I just try it in different things until I find what holds it the steadiest. In this case, it is that spray paint lid, and that'll help hold it still as I'm working. And then once again, I'm going to start in the center, work my way out, just like I have the other ornaments. So we'll just locate our vinyl, start in the center, and then start pressing our way out from the center, pressing down the vinyl, and making sure we don't have any bubbles or anything that's overlapping as we go. Now this kind of vinyl cut into text like this is actually fairly easy to add to a rounded ornament, so it is one of the designs that I would recommend. And then once we have it down, of course, we'll burnish it before we remove that transfer tape, and then just remove the transfer tape from the entire thing, leaving the vinyl on your ornament. And you will want to note here that the transfer tape may pull up in like pieces because we did cut it. And now I have the holly berries on regular transfer tape, and I'll just apply those to the sides of Baby's First Christmas. And once again, you can clip that apart before adding it. And once you add that, the Baby's First Christmas ornament is complete. So now we have the Baby's First Christmas ornament done. We're going to do one more of these round ornaments. So what I wanted to demonstrate is that if you can break your design into small pieces, and it doesn't really matter what the location is, that it's best just to not use transfer tape at all and to just add those by hand. That way you don't have the transfer tape in the way, and it's easier to get them on the ornament without bunching them up and getting wrinkles in the vinyl itself. So if you can, break your design up into small pieces and just add them all piece by piece manually, and you may find that a bit easier. So there you have some super cute ornaments, and I will also link to the cut files I used for each of these. So if you want to grab some of those cut files and make some ornaments of your own, you're absolutely welcome to. So I hope these tips and tricks helped you to create those holiday ornaments this year. Remember that the disc ornaments are going to be a little bit easier to work with, and I'll link to those below. But if you have a bunch of these ball ornaments, found them at the dollar store or whatever, there's no harm in playing with those either, as long as you use the tips and tricks in this video. So thank y'all so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, learned something new, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have Cricut videos every week, and you don't want to miss any of those. If you have any questions, need to ask us something about ornaments or your Cricut machine in general, just head down to the comment section below and ask away, and we'll get to those as we can. So thank y'all for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.